Hello, everybody, and welcome to GTO Coach and Go. You've got a new face this week because Jim is out traveling, and so hello, Jim, on the road. But we're here to keep things moving and help you with all the new features that are rolling out with GTO. And so I'm going to jump right in. Happy to be here this week. My name is Keith Snowd, and I am the lead navigator. I'm going to introduce my colleague, Corey Vries, which you have seen more than once, and he's going to help us with some of these new features. Hi, Corey.
Hey, how are you, Keith? Glad to see
I'm
you're doing a
good.
little guest hosting amongst your navigation duties.
Yeah, yes, I am. I am putting on a different hat today, one I haven't worn, which is fun. So
I got you. You're like Johnny Carson's Jay Leno.
that, yeah, if we only had his money
Yeah,
or
good
or
call.
his car collection, that would be nice. Absolutely.
Excellent, excellent. So you asked me to show off three things today, and I thought I would do that for you. If you want me to go ahead and get started.
I do, and what I'd love to do is just go down in order, and I'll bow out and let you kind of take things from here.
Oh, that's scary, but all right. We'll see what we can do here. Um, all right. Hopefully you can see my screen, which just is pretty much us staring back at one another, right? Now, there we go. Let me know if you're not seeing what I see. I see a proposal for a test account trip in here. Is that what you see, Keith?
That is what I see.
Outstanding. All right. So some of you have asked about when you send out a request to a motor coach for a quote, they want a little information, more information than you're ready to give them at that stage in the proposal. And knowing that, we've devised a way for you to give them that information without having to go too much farther in depth with the trip. You could still do it the old way, so that's still there. But with this added way, you have the ability for those motor coaches that want to know just a few more bits of information, but you don't want to create an entire itinerary just to get the quote. So when you're in a proposal, and you go through your proposal details section, which everyone should know how to do by now, and you go to the quote. Your next step would be quote info. So you want to put the information for all the quotes that are there. When you open that section up, soon there'll be an added section in here that we've put at the bottom. So this is the normal thing: your approximate bus passenger limit, whether you're traveling for the night before, all this sort of stuff, your tour director, your hotel information, special hotel requests, your quick quotes from travel advocates. But down below, there's a new table. This table should have listed every trip day that you are traveling. And this gives you the ability to, on the fly, on the go, right here, put in some information for Motor Coach. For instance, start times. So on Thursday, if you're leaving at 8 a.m., you could go ahead and put 8 a.m. But if you're not leaving until 10 a.m., you can also put in 10 a.m. and it will give you, so you've put in a start time and an end time. You could do that for each day of the trip. I'm going to leave that at 8 a.m. so you can see another part later. It'll tell you the number of hours on duty for any day where you're not doing just a morning pickup or a drop off. So any day that you've clicked full day of driving, it will count the number of hours that you have on duty. So then morning pickup or drop off only. Let's say you're doing some Disney. All you're doing is you're just dropping them off in the morning, or you're going into the city of New York and you're just dropping them off. And that's all the bus has to do. You could put a start time of 8 a.m., click morning drop off only, and then they know that they have pretty much the rest of the day. So they're not really counting too many hours. But let's say you're picking them up again at 11 p.m. You could go ahead and click the pick up and drop off only. And that way they know that they're going to drop some people off at 8. They're going to pick them back up at 11, but they're not using all those hours in between. And that's why there's no hours on duty listed, is because, they're not having to worry about their hours on duty at this point in time. Or full day of driving. And this full day of driving means whatever time you start and whatever time you end, that's going to be their days on, or their hours on. If they go over 10 hours, then the relief driver required alert is going to show up. It does it automatically. I think you may have noticed that when I set this to 10 a.m., it went away because we were now under the hours per day. And you can also put in some notes here. And this is just double click on it and type it in. So this was driving to New York. I'm going to leave it there, but just to show you that I'll just change it up a little bit so you can see it later. You also notice why I have all kinds of misspellings and everything is because I don't type well. And you can do that for all the days of your trip. It will tell you that you need relief drivers, what you're doing right here. When you save this as normal, you would normally just save it just like this. Under your quote request page, you're going to see a new button called Generate Motor Coach Document. When you press it, it will go through the process of generating a document. We've already created one here. So when you do that, you can open it. You actually don't have to open it unless you want to double check it. And I'm going to show it to you. What we're going to do is we're going to open up this document. With Adobe Acrobat, and I'll show you what we sort of created here. So we've created a document that has your logo. This is Group Experiences logo. And then it has, please fill out the request form, right? We'll get to that in just a second. Gives a couple of bits more information about the trip, your departure location, start and end dates, your destination, how many passengers, and the size of coach requested. Then that chart that you filled out is right here. So now that you're going to send this to the bus company, and when the bus company gets it, they're going to know exactly what they need to do per day. So you may not know exactly what they're going to be doing on day 2, but you know they just need to be dropped off and picked back up, right? And you can let the bus company know that. Then there's a form that they can fill out here at the end with the price per coach, and you know, whether or not the each coach has a DVD or a Wi-Fi or outlets or seat belts, any of the other information that you might want from them that they could just fill out and then email back to you. Saves a lot of time for them and a lot of time for you if you're going to have it in a format that you already want it in. This PDF is going to be great because what's going to happen is when we go to our quote, so we're just going to jump on down to a bus quote here. You fill out the bus quote as normal. You just fill it out as normal. If you have generated that document, then a new button will appear. If you did not generate the document, the old button will still be here. This motor coach request email will still be there, and you can still use it. If you have a bus company that doesn't need that kind of information and you just want to request the bus quote, you can do it just like you always have. But if you want to create one with a request email with attached information, then we can do that as well. So when you press this button, it's going to open an email from your email address to the email address of the company saying motor coach request. This would be Ruth at Indian Trails. Perhaps Ruth's out there right now listening. You can send us a check for the plug. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So we're sending Ruth a motor coach based on the following information. This is the information basic of the trip. And then there's a link down here. And on this link, when you open it up, it's going to open up that PDF for them. So now they have a copy of it directly. They can see it right here. So whatever you've generated is now in the hands of the person that needs to have it to fill out a better quote. And then when you get your quote back, you can fill your information as your pricing from supplier and be ready to go. And that's it. What happens is you fill out a few bits of information, follow the process, and save yourself a lot of time with those emails.
And Corey,
yes,
it saves how many versions of that document if you change it and modify it?
Currently it saves 3, but by Monday when this goes live for everybody, it will save 10 versions of it.
so that way you have a record of what you have sent to the motor coach company over time, which is great.
Yes, and one thing I'll mention is just remember that it sits under the quote request. It'll sit right here, and you should be able to click this revision history. Like I said, right now it's just saving 3 of them, but you can see that last night I generated several of them as I was doing some revisions to the document. And by Monday, when this will go live for everybody, it will have 10 of the versions. So if you make a change, you'll still at least know that you sent them maybe a different version and have that version to show. And it will be saved right there for you. But if you remember, if you don't generate the document, it won't show up in quote requests to send that email. So you may have to come back out here to generate a motor coach document, and you can do this at any time. So if you fill out your quote information and then you don't generate the motor coach document right away, you can come back and do it whenever you want and make some changes. The only thing is when you make some changes, just remember you got to generate a new document. Otherwise, it will still have all the old information on there. We do that so you have the flexibility to decide when that document is created so it can help you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's
great new feature.
Yeah, I think so as well. Especially helping motor coaches out, get you a better quote, a more accurate quote for your trip.
Right. And I want to make sure everybody knows that as we roll this out, if you get feedback from motor coach companies as to information that might be more helpful to them, please send that through the help desk, because we are constantly watching things like that. And it might be a simple modification for us to just add an extra piece of data. So just please let us know. Use the help desk as your guide for that.
Cool. All right. So the next thing we're rolling out on Monday is a feature over in Trip Manager. So I've gone to Trip Manager. I've gone to a test account. In honor of Jim, since he's gone, we've created a test account in his name. And so this should seem normal to everyone. This is a trip page, looks like just any others, with your trip products and tasks and attachments and everything else. You may notice a new tab called Tour Director and Driver Information. That's next to your final itinerary underneath gifts. You know it's new because I haven't actually reset this click below to be above the final itinerary and put another one here for them. So that's how you know it's new. And when you go there, you're going to see a lot of information like a feature coming soon where you can add a tour director to a trip. But you'll also see the tour director day before and day after. I will tell you that if you created a trip in Trip Manager before November 10th, then these won't be filled out for you. You may have to fill them out again. But after November 10th, they should be. And if they're not, please let me know. But you can edit it. So if you go into edit mode and you're like, oh, no, the tour director really has to be the day after, you can go ahead and edit it and click it and have it all there, information-wise for you. And you're going to see that you can generate a driver and tour director itinerary. Before we do that, I do want to explain how the process works a little bit to get an accurate driver and tour director itinerary. So you'll have one for the client. That's normal. That hasn't changed any. The final itinerary for that has been set and is being used. But we know that you want a different one for the tour director. The driver one needs to have addresses. The tour director one needs to have other information that you want to relay to them that you don't necessarily want the client to see, or they just don't need to see. So we've created a way to create those documents as well. But what you have to do is you have to start on the trip product level. As you go through the booking process of a trip, say like we'll take the Intrepid here. As you're going through the booking process, and I'm sorry that I should have hit the button that said confirm booking instead. You're entering in all your numbers as the contracts come back and things of that nature, just like always. But you'll see that there are booking process notes. These are notes for you, right? That, as you're booking it, that transfer from each step. These booking process notes will be there. So if I added a note here for this booking process, like call Brenda 3 days out, that will remain through the entire process of booking as you go along. Same thing with product notes for operations. These are the ones that came from sales. But now you'll see that there are two new ones. There's tour director notes and driver notes. So let's say that, who was this again? Intrepid. The Intrepid says that the drop-off area has changed to the corner of two different streets than you normally drop off. The client doesn't need to know that because the client doesn't care. But the tour director wants to know that, and the driver wants to know that as well. So you could put notes in this section for the driver. Construction in the area. We'll know that I really typed this because I misspelled construction. And the tour director may need to know drop off is a block farther north. Now these will also go through the booking process. So once you've entered it in, you don't have to enter it in anywhere else. So when you come down to the tour director and driver itineraries and you generate one, like let's say we'll generate a driver itinerary real quick. We have one there already, but we'll generate another one. It goes through the process of generating one. The screen will refresh. Now, when I open up this document, this is a Word document that you can edit, right? So here's our final itinerary. Has the important contact information, 24-hour emergency line. It gives a pickup location, so you know where you're picking, say, a group up at. And if we went to, you'll notice that construction in the area has been added on there. You can tell that I did it because I misspelled construction. Or actually, I just put a capital O. So you know that I just did that, and you know that it just added it here. Right now, we haven't gone through the process of adding the addresses for each one, but all the addresses will be there. It won't just say United States. It'll actually give the address of the Intrepid Museum as you're going through. Would also tell you the same things that all the other itineraries show you as well, plus the other information that you give it. So if we generated, I was looking to see, like here's an email or an address that came across, right? That's the address, I believe, for Academy Bus. And like I said, a description. So that was the driver. If we generate the tour director one, go through the process, hit close, have the screen refresh. When we open up this document, we get the same thing, but notice that the stuff we put in for our tour director is here instead. So instead of saying that there's construction, it's telling the tour director that their drop-off is a block farther north. So that information that you put in as you booked the product shows up immediately on the document that you are creating for your tour director. It'll also have your driver's names and phone numbers listed on here as you go through that part of the booking process. You meeting your group at you know where to meet your group, so you're able to put in on the tour director where like there's the pickup location for the driver, but the tour director might meet them at Central Park at such and such a time, and you could put that information in here, and so that the tour director has that information on their itinerary. It's a cool feature that we're still adding some things to. So you might see a lot of questions pop up that you want add like that are not on there at the moment, but will be added to it very soon. Like I said, by Monday, you'll be able to use these features. It also saves itineraries, so you can see it saves 3 right now. It will save 10 by the time we're done, and the date that you generated it. So you'll know if you made a change after this date, you'll need to create a new document for it. That way you'll have something to send to your tour director and your driver itinerary. And yes, if you're excited about the fact that you can add a tour director to a trip, that's coming soon to a theater near you. We'll be excited to roll that out as soon as we can for you.
Absolutely. That's great. Really great features and makes doing those final itineraries a lot easier because as you're keeping up with the information in the system, you don't have to re-enter anything. You just hit a button and it generates what you need, which is great. So, and like Corey said, both of these features that we talked about, the motor coach improvements and the addition of final itineraries and for driver and TD will become live on Monday. So when you log in on Monday, they should be available to you. And as always, if you have questions as you start to use them, you can go back and reference this video because it'll be on our YouTube site. But you can also send a message to the help desk and someone will get with you right away on how to answer your question and get you rolling. Our last feature is something that has been around for a while, but we're coming up on the American Bus Association conference in January that is happening on January 8th through the 12th in Grapevine, Texas. Many of us here are going to be attending, and we wanted to refresh everybody's memory about the scheduling feature about attending trade shows because it's a really easy way to keep your information in one place. It's helpful to the GTO community. It's helpful to you. And it really helps, makes the flow of information easier. I will tell you that those of you that are really savvy might even be able to navigate this on the mobile app. So there's lots of features here. I'm going to let Corey take it and talk to you about trade shows.
Okay, so we did this a long time ago, but we were just entering the trade show season. But there is a way for you to save yourself a lot of time at trade shows and save yourself a lot of time on the GTO side. I'm going to show you how. So your dashboard looks different than mine when you go to Supplier Manager. So that's where I am. You can tell by the color on the top that I'm in Supplier Manager. I have the Supplier Manager tab open. And then there are tables across the top. I see many more than you do. But there should be one called Trade Shows. And if you click on the thing that says Trade Shows, you can add a new trade show. And I'm going to go ahead and do that now. I'm just going to add this new trade show. When I do, I can call it whatever I want. You'll see Coriopolis Convention and Visitors Bureau there, but I'm going to call this ADFGA. That stands for nothing, but it's got a cool ring to it, so I like it as an event. And that's going to be December 16th through December 18th. I guess it's going to be concurrent with Midwest. However, mine's going to be in.
Thinking that is that in the alternate ballroom at?
Yeah. I'm going to be in San Antonio. Too bad for you, everyone in Chicago. And you can also, if you would like, put the cost of that in there so that you have that as a choice. When I save it, it's going to show up and it's going to bring you back to the trade show, which is great. And now here's what you can do: is you can take your appointments that you have at a trade show and add them. And I'll show you why. So when we add an appointment to this trade show, you can pick one of the dates. Let's see. I'm going to have this one on the first date. I've chosen a company. Today it's Kaleidoscope, it appears. It was earlier group experience. So the appointment time, they don't start super early, so I'm going to say 9 a.m. And then who is it from your company that's going? It's going to be me, so I'm going to go ahead and select me. And then, so you'll see your names there, and you can select whoever it is from your company that's going to be there, and then you can select your supplier. So I'm gonna meet with Dollywood. Well, she's so big, I really have to search for Dollywood these days. Well, I'm gonna meet with Dollywood Splash Country. If the supplier's not listed, that's fine. What you do is you click on that, and you'll be able to enter in supplier information. So just be aware that you can do that, right? Now I can pick a contact, Brandy Sawyers, of course. And then if the applicable, if there's a parent company I want to attach it to, that's fine. You don't have to, none of this information is required. So you can fill out as much or as little as possible. The more you fill out, the quicker the next part that happens works for you. So you add all of that. If you, like I said, if you don't have a supplier listed, you can add one. If you need to add a contact, the contact's not in there, you can do that and add that information in. So all of it can be hand typed in if you can't find it. So don't concern yourself with thinking, oh no, it's not in there, so I don't have to enter it as an appointment. You can add all that information in as you need to. Pre-appointment notes, if you wanted to jot down, remember to ask about Brandy's new baby. Brandy, if you're listening, I don't know if you have a new baby, but I'm just making that up. When you save this and you're back at your trade show, you'll see that your first appointment is there. When you fill them all out, you now have an appointment record that you can use at the trade show. So you could sit with your computer right here, sitting on this page with this trade show with your listing of appointments down below. And when each one comes up, all you have to do is open it. I'd open it in edit mode even. So now I'm having my meeting with Brandy at Dollywood Splash Country, and I'm going to take some notes, right? You know, Brandy says there will be new construction at the site. We'll just make something up there. I was going to say Brandy was going to hold those 2021 prices, but I figure I won't put her on the spot like that. So Brandy says there will be new construction at the site. You can put any notes that you want in there. If she electronically sends you a slick or a brochure or whatever, you can actually add it as an attachment right here as well.
And Corey, right? While you're on this page,
yes,
I want to mention a couple things. First of all, if you have many people in your organization, if you're taking appointments, if there are 2 or 3 people at your organization, at your company that are taking appointments, this is a really great way to set this up ahead of time and make sure that people don't forget to ask the questions you want them to ask. Because if you put them in the pre-appointment notes, they're right there in front of them. Second, it's a really easy way to impress your suppliers. Having been a supplier, it's really great when you walk up to an operator and they're prepared. This is what I need. Everything's right there. Awesome. And then the third thing I mentioned about the mobile app, like I said, if you're really savvy and they hand you that flyer and you don't want to take it home, you can actually snap a photo of it and you can put it in that attachment field right there.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned the multiple people at your company, because as you're doing these appointments, you're selecting the person that's doing the attending. So you can select whomever from your company, right? So if you have 1, 3, or 12 people taking appointments, you can set up appointments for all of them, and they're all in one place for you to see, but we can also create reports for them to see, so all they see is their own. So when we save this now and close, we're again going to go back to our trade show, and it's going to tell us that we've done that appointment. When you go on to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to the next day. But here's the cool part. Now all you need to do is let us know that you've had your trade show and you've done your appointments, because what we can do is now add these suppliers from here. If you've given us the information, we have now the information to update. You don't have to resend it to us. You don't have to put in a help desk request. You don't have to send us an email. You don't have to wonder if it's going to be there. It will be there because you've placed it in this trade shows category. So you've not only set yourself up a great schedule, reminded yourself of the things that you need to ask, had an accurate record of what was talked about right then, able to upload documents as you're doing the appointments. But now we also have a record of all the new pricing that is coming in, and we can enter it in faster than you having to request it all.
Fantastic. So it's a really great tool. I encourage everybody to use it for trade shows coming up in 2022. It really makes life a lot easier for everybody. Corey, I'm going to put us back live here. Yeah, there we are. And I really appreciate you showing us all the features today. Those two new things are pretty exciting. That's great. And refreshing our memories on the trade show application and how that works, because it's really important for us to gather accurate information. So
Absolutely. I always enjoy showing off the system, and I always enjoy being on here. So thanks for having me.
well, thanks for being here. You're becoming a regular guest now, so I guess it might have to become the Jim and Corey show after this. So I don't know.
Nice. If you're Jay Leno, I guess that makes me Rich Little on the Johnny Carson show, the frequent guest Rich Little.
Well, yeah, I mean, or and I guess we don't really have an Ed McMahon character for Johnny Carson, so that's
Where's Stephen Gross when you need him?
that's so. Well, I appreciate it, and I thanks to all of our users out there. Please keep the good comments and the questions coming so that we can keep improving the system. And everybody have a really great week and happy holidays.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.